Assalamu alaikum. You are listening to the Professional Muslim Women podcast, a place for working Muslim women to share their stories, struggles, triumphs, and lessons learned along the way in pursuit of their careers. Being a Muslim woman who wants to advance her career without compromising her faith or values can be challenging. We know these systems were never designed for us, but that doesn't mean we can't be strategic in thriving in them as we advance our careers. In this season of the podcast, we'll continue to bring you inspirational, trailblazing, successful, and fulfilled professional Muslim women to you. We'll be introducing a mentoring segment where we answer your burning career and life goals questions. We'll also be featuring the Taking Up Space course, the foundational career strategy course of our sponsor, the Defiance Academy. Tune in to the Professional Muslim Women podcast with me, your host, Dr. Qali Hussain, trauma surgeon, wife, mom of 6, CEO, and keynote speaker for deep dives on all things career and life goals. Keep an ear out for the occasional surprise visits from our sister and friend of the show, Dr. Hani Ahmed, hospitalist, mom, and physician leader. On this podcast, we keep it brutally honest and tackle the taboo so you can be better prepared. Get ready to be inspired and learn how you can be strategic in forging your own path as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Qali. Welcome back to the Professional Muslim Women podcast. I hope you guys are having a good week. This week, we're going to talk about the issue or the idea of being accustomed to limitations. I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. So about a couple of years ago, I was at a conference, giving a keynote talk and giving a workshop on leading in hostile situations. And at the end of the conference, I had a young gentleman come up to me and tell me about one of the issues he and his friends are having. So they're married couples and they were considering having children while they're in training. And they were struggling with the idea of childcare, right? So both the men and the women were working. I think they were training in somewhere in the healthcare system. And they really wanted to have children, but they were struggling with the idea of childcare and who would stay home with the children, right? So you have a working husband, working wife, and the issue was, well, we don't want to bother our parents. We don't want them to go to daycare. We don't want a nanny. We don't want a babysitter, but we both want to work. And so I started digging into why all those options were off the table. And so he said, well, our parents took care of us and we don't want to be a burden to them in this age. I said, okay, that's understandable. Okay, why not a daycare? And he said, well, we bring children into this world so we can take care of them. We don't want to give up that responsibility to somebody else. And so we don't want a daycare. I was like, okay, what about somebody who can stay at home with them if the issue is, them being taken care of outside of the home? You can have family members supervising while a babysitter or a nanny stays with them. And they said, no, we don't trust anybody. And I said, okay, so no parents, no daycare, no babysitter, no nanny. You guys want to provide full 100% care, but neither of you is willing to take time off and stay with the kids. And they said, yes. And so it was really hard to answer this question because it was a bigger problem than we want to take care of our children. The issue was they had closed off all possibilities. And when I asked, why are you so against daycares or having, babysitters? What's wrong with if you're pursuing something that's going to be the greater good for you and your family, right? You're training to be a physician or whatever. Why can you not have your kids be taken care of for that short period of time while you are trying to accomplish something? And it reminded me of, what I was going through when I was in training. Every single step I was taking, it was like, no, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. And especially when I started having kids, I was getting called a bad mother because I chose to have my kids be at a daycare. So we have this huge taboo when it comes to childcare, especially for working mothers, because you are seen as soon as you have children, everything else takes a back step and you have to 100% devote your time to your children. And, Alhamdulillah, Ilahi gives us children, but Ilahi also gave us options, right? Ilahi gave us the option to pursue an education, pursue our careers while we're having children by leaning on our network. And by our network, I mean our families, our other relatives, childcare options. There is nothing wrong with it. But because there is such a huge taboo, we limit our own options. So from this conversation, I've identified two problems. And I've had this conversation over and over. The first problem is we're trying to break stereotypes and break boundaries, but we're stuck in the same way of thinking. You want to have a family and you both want to pursue your careers, but you're stuck with the idea of this gendered role that as a woman, you have to stay at home and take care of the children and your career takes a back seat. There are women that make that decision, alhamdulillah, and that's perfectly fine, right? That is their choice. That's the beauty of having a choice. There are women that take time off, raise their kids, and by the time they feel, they're a certain age and I feel safer, I feel more comfortable that at this age they can go to daycare, they can go to school, then I'll go back to work. That's an option too. But to say that, no, I want to continue working, but then I don't trust any system of support. I don't want any other system of support to take care of my children. I want to do it myself, but at the same time, I want to work full time. It becomes very difficult, right? Unless you can find a schedule where you and your husband can work complete opposites and either, when you're working, he's at home, and when he's working, you're at home. If you can do that, alhamdulillah. But if you're both in the middle of training and that schedule is impossible and you don't accept any help because our society puts pressure on you that you're a bad mother, you're a bad parent, if you let, your children be taken care of by other people, then how are we supposed to break stereotypes? How are we supposed to break boundaries? We have to accept help. We have to accept support, right? The idea that we do this all by ourselves is false. We don't do any of this by ourselves. It's with the support systems that we create, that we lean on, that help us get anywhere. Okay. And the second problem that I identify with these conversations is that we're trying to grow and expand our horizons, but we still let social pressure limit our actions, right? We're trying to behave differently, but we're following the same set of rules. We're trying to break boundaries. We're trying to grow and expand and do things differently, but we're following the same set of rules. It's a lot more than just, you're doing something different. Your mindset has to change too. And it's not easy. It is not easy. I can tell you that, right? The stigma that comes with it, the backlash that comes with it. I have a video from one of the speeches that I gave where I talk about all the comments that were made with every step that I took, right? Oh, you're going to be a surgeon? Yeah, you're never going to get married. I got married. Oh, you're never going to have kids. I had kids. Oh, now you're going to be a stay-at-home mom. What a waste. I went back to work. Oh, what a terrible mother. You can't even stay at home for your kids. There's going to be backlash. There's going to be negative pressure with every single step that you take if you're doing things differently. But that is the price of doing things differently. Things don't change easily. So we can't change anything. We can't break stereotypes. We can't break boundaries if we're accustomed to these limitations, if we're accustomed to the idea of maintaining the status quo. Mom guilt is real, right? And the pressure of, conforming to these stereotypes is real, but you have to know that that's what you're reacting to. I kind of sensed it, but I didn't know it until I had to reflect on it deeply. So you have to know, why are you being forced to give up all the possible support that you could have? Why are you being forced into a corner to say, okay, I want to do these things that are completely impossible. I want to work full time. I don't want to stay at home. My husband doesn't want to stay at home, but we want to take care of our kids full time. We don't want to accept any help. Nobody else can take care of our kids but us, but we're not going to stay at home. The number of times I've had this conversation is unbelievable. So we cannot be accustomed to limitations. We have to figure out if our options are being limited, Why are our options being limited? What is the social pressure being put on us? And why are we succumbing to that pressure? Okay. So I hope these questions and I hope this discussion and these stories resonate with you. If they do, please let me know. And I hope, they provide food for thought to really figure out what other ways are you being limited? What other ways are you just being accustomed to limitations set because of social pressure? What can you do to overcome it? And I'm telling you, it's not easy. It is not easy. It is not easy going up against social norms and defying them. There's going to be some backlash. And over time, you grow a thick skin. Over time, you grow a thick skin. But trust me, having a support system that helps you, that's what helps you get somewhere. That's what's going to help you succeed, is when you have a support system. Okay, that is it for this week. Send me any more of your questions in Mentoring Moments segment at the link below. The date for the Defiant Women's Leadership Conference is finally set in stone. The conference is in January 21st, 2023 in Phoenix, Arizona. We have our venue and we have registration open, and we have more people on the list than there are spots. So if you are interested in attending the Defiant Women's Leadership Conference, I suggest that you register as soon as possible, as spots will fill up. I'll also be providing a list of hotels in the nearby area to the conference so that you can book it early, since that's going to be high season. If you're interested in attending the Defiant Women's Leadership Conference, please send me a message and I will send you the registration link. In the meantime, you can put your name on the priority email list below. If you're also interested in the Taking Up Space course, where we break stereotypes over obstacles without compromising our values, the link for the course is below as well. As always, I hope the rest of the week goes well, and inshallah, I'll talk to you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for tuning in to the Professional Muslim Women Podcast, the place for Muslim women to inspire and be inspired. Please join us on our Facebook group, Professional Muslim Women Podcast, to continue the conversation and connect with Muslim women like you. Thank you to our sponsor, Defiance Academy, and the Taking Up Space course. Be sure to check out the course at the link below. If you have any burning career and life goals questions, or you'd like to suggest topics for us to cover, submit them to the Mentoring Moments segment at the link below. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and drop us a like and a review. We'd love to hear from you. As always, may Allah guide us all on this journey. Stay blessed. Wa alaikum salam.